I thought I was being pranked or somebody bought followers from me or my account got hacked. I woke up to 50,000 followers and my video was going insane. It felt unreal. It felt like if I just put out the truest version of me and like shared my story, not only is it the easiest form of content that I can make, it's a truest version of me, and it seems like people are enjoying this. I just created the things that I wanted to see, the things that I wish that would pop up on my Explore page and be inspired by, and I just ran with it. Operating from abundance is great, it's healthy, but back in 2022, October of 2022 more specifically, which isn't that long ago, I had $13 in my bank account.
Yeah.
I had this, collage of awesome work and accolades, but to still end up there, I'm constantly running away from the potential and possibility of not succeeding or being broke, and that actually honestly fuels me so much. People every day are telling me, oh, this method changed my the entire way I approach content, or the way you schedule has helped me stack up content. It happens in corners of the world that I would have never expected it to. So it confirms that I'm on the right path. And it also feels crazy to say that because I'm just like this normal dude.
Today's guest, Adrian Purr, is a self-taught director, photographer, DJ, and all-around multidisciplinary creative. He's also the co-founder of the production company Lumpia Watermelon. He started out at 19 shooting his own music videos, and within a few years, he was directing some of the biggest names in music, including Lil Nas X, The Kid Laroi, Kehlani, Megan Thee Stallion, Nike, Aloe Yoga, and more. We're going to talk about how we turn creativity into a company, what it really takes to keep growing when you've already made it to the top of your scene, and why success is about more than just talent. It's about discipline, mindset, and never standing still. Let's get into it. Adrian Purr, welcome to Creator Commerce.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming down. I really appreciate it. We always kick off Creator Commerce with the question of, how do you describe what you do to people who are not in your industry?
Ooh, that's always a hard one, right? Because it's like, to me, I feel like I'm just casually making videos. Yeah. So I tell people, yeah, I make videos for the internet, but I think that's because I'm still so new to describing what that is. I haven't quite owned it yet. So I just simplify it.
Okay.
So yeah, and people are like, do you dance? Like, do you?
You're like, I do but not on camera?
Yeah. I'm so bad at dancing. Yeah. Or do you cook? Do you make, do you show your outfits? And just like, I do have to get better at that. Like, what is my true elevator pitch?
Yeah.
I don't quite have it down. I think I get nervous of like, I make videos.
Yeah.
But before I started making content, I knew exactly what I would say. Like, I could own that. Like, prior to that, I'd be like, yeah, I'm a film director. I make music videos, commercials, short form content. But now, because so much of just my personal identity that's become my online brand, it feels really vain to say, I make videos about the things that I like and the things that interest me. And hopefully the things that I like may help you. It feels vain to say that.
I hear you.
So yeah, I think that's how I describe it. Unfortunately, I don't quite have that yet.
Yeah, it's interesting. When you talk to a lot of our customers or people in our space, there's this like, I'm a creator part of it. There's this, I'm an entrepreneur part of it. And there's like, I'm an educator part of it, right?
Yeah.
And so when we talk to like entrepreneurs like you or creators like you, it's multifaceted, right? It sounds like you're doing a bunch of different things depending on what aspect of your business portfolio that you're kind of working on that day. Is that a fair way to think about it?
Yeah. I also think because I was thrown into this new world so fast, I can't quite, it is so still multi-hyphenate as to not just like the possibilities of how I could describe myself. It's just, it feels so new that it's hard to like identify with either one of these. I do feel like a creator, but do I, like you said, like, am I also an entrepreneur? Am I also an operator? Am I, managing, a team? Yes. Yeah. So yeah, it is difficult to tell people. I think to simplify it, I should just say, I make videos about making videos.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. There's an education element to that too, right? Which is great. Let's get into like your business a little bit. So talk to me about Lumpia Watermelon and the production company, how you started it, who's it for? Like, we'd love to get smart about it.
Yes. So Lumpia Watermelon is a production company. One of my really good friends from back in the Bay started. We started this thing together. He was an editor. I was a director. It's gonna sound so crazy. I don't know if this is something that you could leave in there because I just know it might be nuts.
Yeah.
But so I'm full Filipino,
Yeah.
which is where the lumpia comes from. And then
What does that mean?
Lumpia is basically a Filipino egg roll.
Okay.
And it's like it's a dish that most folks know that comes from the Philippines.
Okay.
And then my business partner, he's African American.
Yeah.
So he was watermelon, and we were like, let's just put the things together.
Yeah, got it.
And we were like, we can't just make a generic, really cool creative agency name. And that name just stuck, and we rocked together as a duo. He didn't want to be on set, and I didn't want to be locked in as an editor. And in the Bay Area, we attacked the music scene.
Mm-hmm.
We were making music videos for anybody and everybody. And eventually he moved out to Atlanta. I moved out to LA, and we stayed connected. And we were doing that thing, I'd say full time up until 2019.
Yeah.
And that's when the shift happened, when I started getting hired for more content, not my own content. And the production company started taking a back seat. Okay. So that was like, I don't say I don't work on it now. I don't want to say that. Like, I'm very selective of if an opportunity that I truly am passionate about, that I want to bring my production company with, I'll do it. But yeah, that's just like not a thing of the past necessarily, but it was a fun thing that we did for a really long time together. And he's still one of my best friends to this day.
Well, maybe it would be helpful for us to understand, like, let's zoom out. Like, what are you working on? What is your portfolio of things that you kind of got going on at any time? So people can understand like how multifaceted you actually are and what your business is like.
So yeah, coming from the production world, I had now moved into being a creator, a solo creator, which now is it's just me. And I'd taken all of the things that I was implementing as a producer, director, just all around like a traditional filmmaker into my content. And to be honest, did I have any business in mind other than making videos? No. And this goes back to like, I was thrown into the thing, right? But I had seen what so many other people have done, making business around their social media presence, and whether it's educational, cooking, all these things. And I was like, okay, this thing right here might and could be my livelihood.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a possibility for me just because I'd been behind the camera for so many years supporting people who were doing that.
Yeah.
And I just learned so much from folks like Colin and Samir about the creator economy, or other creators that have just taught me that this is a possibility, whether it's peers or, people I looked up to. And I kind of would just like experiment and follow in those footsteps.
Yeah. When you think about the content you're creating, like, talk to me about that journey. Where did you start creating? Yeah. What kind of content were you creating when you started becoming like the person in front of the camera?
Yeah.
And then what has that evolved into now, and kind of who is it for? Like, who benefits most from Adrian's content?
Let's start with the first one.
Yeah.
So I started back in 2022, November 2022, and I was like, all right, I'm going to give this thing my 101% effort, which was me posting every single day.
Yeah.
And
which platform?
Both Instagram and TikTok.
Cool. Great.
Yeah. And I just knew I had to commit to the bit. I was like, back in the day, the content that I was consuming didn't quite fulfill my appetite of what I used to see on social media. I think everything became homogenized. Everything was so in your face. So as vain as this may sound, I just created the things that I wanted to see, the things that I wish that would pop up on my explore page and be inspired by.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, I just tested out all the things that were of my interest. And Some of them were just normal lifestyle perspectives, what it's like to be a Californian in New York, or here's this spot that I like eating at, or
Also super broad stuff.
Yeah,
Like whatever, got it.
yeah. And I tried that out for a month, and that was just me honestly copying what's out there and what works. And I realized that's not who I am. I have to own my journey and like my story. So I started gearing my content as to who is this person behind the camera, and I started sharing that journey. And around the end of January, that's when I started betting on that, and I started making content geared around that story, and it changed my life, honestly. Like, who's the content for? I'd say my main ICP is the
Ideal
me.
customer profile.
Yeah. It is me at 17.
Okay, cool. Describe yourself at 17. Oh, who is that guy?
I didn't go to film school. I was inspired by the things that I watched. Why do I need this filter? Why should I be using this shutter speed? Why should I care about these technical aspects? It's the version of me that didn't have access to things that were really gatekept when I was 17.
Yep.
When I was running to get coffee for the directors I was working for, or just assisting and just trying to learn as much as I can without having the privilege and access to all the knowledge I felt like, I don't want to say deserve, but felt like I wanted to get from at that time. And now it's accessible everywhere, right? And having had been a full-time professional in that industry at the time, was 12 years at that point. I was like, let me just talk about this journey, how I got here, what's kept me here, things that I find have worked the best in my career, whether it's hard skills or the soft skills. And because of that, I'd like to think the other person on the screen is just a reflection of whether who I was at 17 or who I was at 26. And I'd like to think that's who I make my content for. And it just so happens that people have found an interest in it, and the possibility of being a full-time creator and, you know, making a business out of it, it is now a possibility, and you don't have to go down these traditional routes. And I talk about it and I share it. I've been sharing, like, I share the parts that are unpolished. I share the parts that are perfect. I share all of it. And people seem to have enjoyed seeing that process, I'd say, more than the fully polished professional work that I was posting prior. And then it clicked, and I was just like, all right. I found myself enjoying, I guess, somehow finding myself being an educator in the space.
Great.
Yeah.
So Colin and Samir have this concept, which I'm sure you've heard about, this like content market fit. And so if you look at the way they built content over time, it was like no viewership, and then some content hit.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, now we have something. Like the stuff we're putting out there, there's an audience for. And when you're talking about your journey, it sounds like there's a little bit of that, which at first it was, I'm going to, whatever, I'm going to get a sandwich, or I'm like in New York and I'm a Californian, like those things. What was the first piece of content or series of content that made you think, okay, this is the path that I'm going to take this direction towards?
Yeah.
And like, what was that reaction? Like, was it DMs? Was it people commenting? Was it just viewership? Like, what was that?
It was the first time I had shared who was behind the camera. Like, who is this person?
Talk about yourself.
Prior was me sharing the things that I'd worked on as a director or a producer on these huge campaigns with huge talent and musicians. And while that was cool to my peers in the industry, it's like, who's the person that made that? I never quite thought that people would be interested in the person behind it. And when literally the first video, I spoke about, hey, I'm Adrian. I've done this, I do this, and I now want to make this. If you're interested in hearing about these things, come along for the ride.
Yeah.
And I posted that January 29th of 2023. And it got so many views, in my opinion. It got like 40,000 views.
Oh, great.
And then I woke up February 10th, 2023, about a week and a half later, and I thought I was being pranked or somebody bought followers from me or my account got hacked. I woke up to 50,000 followers and my video was going insane.
Yeah.
So what did that feel like? It felt unreal. It felt like, oh, wow, if I just bet on me and the things that I could speak my truest truths and not have to be like what we were saying earlier, you know, the watches thing or seeking validation and whatnot, right? Like if I just put out the truest version of me and like shared my story, not only is it the easiest form of content that I can make, it's a truest version of me. And it seems like people are enjoying this more than this, here's my polished body of work. Here's something that I've colored for such and such, and I just ran with it.
Yeah. So like you woke up with 50,000 followers, right?
Yes.
So obviously you're excited about it.
Yeah.
When you thought about the calendar of content you had thereafter, did anything shift about the way you approached it? Did you approach it more methodically or more professionally? Did you feel pressure because now you got like a bigger audience? Like how was that entire process for you?
Do I feel more pressure? No. I feel really disconnected from I've learned to feel more disconnected from whether people view it as, oh, this did well or this didn't, or what the validation of what a successful piece of content looks like. My bar is, if I like it, I'm putting it out there. But how did I approach this? In November of 2022, I had set the goal to post every single day for 2023. And at the end of it, I set myself with a follower goal, which was 10,000, because it just looks really cool to have the K at the end. And that's really all it was. Yeah. And yeah, so I had batch filmed at the end of 2022. So by January of 2023, January 1st, when my first video went up, I had about 6 weeks of content that I could post every single day. Cool. So even by, March, I had content that was going to take me up into the end of May. And it's been like that ever since. And it's been easier to make it formulaic, plug and play, different formats, similar formats, and just plugging and playing different subject matters. And now that gap has widened to like 8 to 12 weeks of content that I'm currently just sitting on. And that came from, I just approached it like a job. Yeah. Like I knew that if I wanted to take this, or if I wanted this to be my life or my career, or to see if there's any real potential, I couldn't treat it like a hobby.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. So what Noah described it is you're not going every day creating content. You're creating like, hey, in a calendar, this week, I'm going to create content for, like you said, 8 to 12 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And then you're kind of slowly dripping it out over time. Is that a right way to think about it?
Well, at the time, I was posting it every day, but slowly dripping it out.
Yeah.
So,
the schedule of posting is daily.
Yes.
But the content creation is like during a window of time where you're like, I'm just going to build content.
Yes.
Got it.
So like I would film like one main video, but there were so many different ancillary pieces of videos that I was able to crank out on that same set or that around that same subject matter. And I was filming, I'd say 3 to 4 times a week, while also still yielding like maybe 10 videos out of those 3 to 4 shoot days a week.
Got it.
Yeah.
And how did you think about the topic areas? Were you like really deliberate? Like there's this theme that I have for this week and I'm going to go and create a bunch of content around that? Or was it kind of just inspirational what you're feeling on the day of?
It was planned out. I had a list of probably, I'd say like hundreds of things actually. And this was before like, we were using LLMs to like give me more ideas around this topic. Yeah. It was all manual. What do I think that this younger version of me would have found of interest as like free free film school on the internet. And for example, when to use a microphone for what situation and what type of microphone you use, right? And through that, like my subject matter would be like microphones. All right, when do you use a shotgun or a lavalier, or when do you use, something that's directional or omnidirectional? Like I could think of 10, 20 different topics on one subject. So I would just write it down and then just branch all of these things out. Like focal length, I could talk about, I don't know, I could probably think of 50 topics, 50 individual video topics as to different aspects of focal length or different reasons why a 50 millimeter lens might give you, different looks that you're looking for. And so, yeah, that's how I looked at it. I approach it as like, all right, here's 50 topics. How can I make, 3 to 5 videos out of each of them? And I would just reuse it.
That's cool. Let's talk about the business side. Like as you're building content, you're kind of giving away all this content and knowledge for free, right? Yeah. How did you start thinking about, did you think about monetization at all? Were you thinking about like just building an audience on these social platforms? Like what was the strategy behind what you were building and how has that maybe evolved over time?
I had seen it even before I had started making content myself. I knew that the brand deal business was huge, but I also know that I can't just rely on that forever. So I had strategically placed when I would sell my first digital product, which is, I started that this year.
What is it?
It's a color grading preset, actually.
Yeah.
I was a professional colorist. I worked at a post house for a good amount of time, and people were always asking me like, hey, sell this thing. But I knew I didn't feel ready to. And so I had waited on it for about 2 years. I feel like there is a good amount of trust tokens a creator needs to drop in to their audience in order to feel like this creator is credible. I trust them. They're not just here, shilling a product. And there was so much shilling as well that I didn't want to be a creator that became hot at the moment and then all of a sudden monetized the audience. And I knew I would lose trust. So that was strategic in making sure that I didn't do it too early. And could I have capitalized like at, on this gold rush of when I was getting 10,000 followers a day? Sure. Maybe I could have, but I also would have broken that trust immediately. And I think that journey with just whoever follows me, who could potentially be a customer, would have been cut off short if I had reached for that, that low-hanging fruit immediately, rather than to just nurture this relationship long-term and slowly drip things out.
That trust token concept is really cool. It's essentially like you're trying to build like a real like relationship with your audience. And if you're, I kind of want to talk about that. Were you afraid of not just digital products, but just shilling like any kind of brand deal or whatever it was to make money at that moment? Or like, how were you thinking about that trust token dynamic and making sure you don't like ruin trust?
This isn't a stab or a jab at people who are selling things. But there's a lot of people, in my opinion, that have sold things for the sake of selling things for business, which is great. If you're doing sales, great. But in my space, in the filmmaking space, there was a lot of things being sold without the foundation or the credibility behind it. There were a handful of great things, but amongst a handful of great things, there was an ocean of things that had no credibility, and people were selling it because this was a thing that was profitable. People wanted to make content. People wanted cinematic storytelling. People wanted to learn how to do that. And because these people are such good entrepreneurs, which I do respect, there wasn't really, I didn't want to be mixed into that crowd, especially had coming on to, being recognized as a creator as fast as I feel like I have been. I just didn't want to break that trust. And even to this day, and like after I put out this course, it's still going to be free.
Yeah.
This is a version of me that will always exist. I just wanted to wait for the right time to let people know like, hey, like, this is who I am. This is my rapport. This is my credibility. This is the foundation I built it on. And I just felt like doing it any other time was, just too early.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough trust tokens. I would have had like a small bucket of them and I would have cashed it out, and it would have been cool to, cash out on this little pot, but it's like, now I've built it here.
Yeah.
And like, whether you cash that out here or here, wherever it may be, it's like, I value that trust in my audience more than me just selling them something like immediately. So I've held it off.
No, it's great. I mean, one of the things when we talk to a lot of creators is that intention you have behind it, I think, is unique. So a lot of the times people are like, money's money. So like, it's an opportunity to like, how do I monetize? And they kind of think about that maybe too early.
Yeah.
And you've been really strategic about that. Is that something you came in intentionally from the jump, being like, hey, I'm going to be very methodical about this? Or is that like a lesson you learned early on in your career that told you to like hold back and think about these trust tokens or things like that? Like, or is that just intuition? You're just like, I know this is the right way to do it.
It's a bunch of factors. It's one, me being turned off by people who are selling just to sell.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be mixed amongst that crowd. And also just having the right people around me. One, like my manager, who actually was like, I know that's really cool to you, and if you ever want to get to that, we could, which is selling products. We have to build that trust. And also other people who have been successful at selling courses and other products. It's like, you could do that right now, but this is why you shouldn't do that right now. And I've just been taught, and having the intuition mixed with it kind of confirmed that I didn't need to be doing that at that time to cash in too early.
I guess one thing that I'm always interested in talking to people like you is like, what does the future look like for you? Like, what are you hoping to, like, in 10 years, what do you want your audience, or what do you want your brand to represent to the people you talk to?
I would like to think that people who have watched my content, whether it's the free version or the premium version, that it's helped them in some way in either helping their business, their own personal content, and just also, most importantly, like the entire thing of what my course and the things that I teach on my page, my free page about, is they have found themselves doing so. And I think there's so much out there that shows people, this is what this person did, which is why you should do this. So much of what I do is, this is who you are, and this is how I could bring the best out of you. So 10 years from now, I hope that people who have watched my content bet heavy on themselves the way I bet heavy on myself, and a lot of these other creators have bet heavy on themselves and find themselves doing that, rather than, this is what's working right now, so let's hop on this trend so we can then just get this short-term win for my business or as a solo creator or whatever it may be. I'd like to hope that people find their own unique voice and, originality through the things that I put out there.
Yeah. Is there like so you've been doing this for a couple of years now. Has there been an example of that so far where somebody's like, Adrian, you changed my life, or I listened to your content or watched your content, and like, I took a left versus a right, and it's been the right call? Like, is there something that resonates for you?
Yeah. And it's crazy to say it, right? Like, it's crazy to say because I'm like a normal dude who never I aspired to make great art. All the other things was like, I know it comes with it. So it feels crazy to even feel like repulsive to say. Like, yeah, this happens all the time. But it's just like crazy for me to feel like, to even confirm that. Like, people every day are telling me, oh, this method changed my the entire way I approach content, or the way you schedule has helped me stack up content, or the things that you've taught me help me share my business's story. it happens every day, multiple times a day. It happens in public. It happens in corners of the world that I would have never expected it to. So it confirms that I'm on the right path. And it also feels crazy to say that because I'm just like,
That's great.
I'm just like this normal dude that like, and even then, right? Like, what does 1 million followers look like? What does 10 million followers look like? I don't know. What does 500,000 or even 10,000? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And I'd like to think that I don't think I'm a huge creator in my opinion. But what I do think is that the content that I create has huge value and huge impact. So maybe the small, I can't say small, but maybe just like the concentrated people that I have been able to help have found so much value in that they tell me. And I'm just like, that's crazy. That makes my day because that just confirms like you were the reflection of who I was when I needed to hear this. And it has found you. Yeah. It's found you when you needed it. It's found you, maybe you didn't know you needed it. And yeah, it's just, it's really cool that happens.
That's great. Is that kind of the inspiration a little bit behind the kind of the course you're pulling together and like this like not new phase, but like next phase of your business, which is these digital products? Like, was it, how do I package these things? Walk me through like the rationale for like building the course you have. I think you talked about other things you have in terms of digital products. Like, how was that evolution for you?
Yeah, so that is the next phase, but I don't think it's my means to an end.
Okay. It's
for people who want it. And if I were to look at my business right now, I'd say 95% of that is brand deals. And the 5%, which is a product, which is, it's really healthy, honestly, but it's like still so small in comparison to the brand deal business.
So when you think about like your revenue pie chart, you said 95% brand deals?
Yes.
Okay, got it. And then 5% is digital products, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that next phase is chipping away into having it take up more space. Maybe it's 15%, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 20 or 30. And I would be happy with that.
Yeah.
I don't mind being a working creator. I think there's so much slop out there of folks making courses to sell courses to get rich and, you know, fly in a private jet. And I just don't see myself being that type or needing to be that type or caring to be that type. I enjoy the process and making things and being interactive and sharing things that have helped me that might help others. And through that course or, you know, the variety of products that I might put out in the future, I just see that as, yeah, I think that's like what I'm building next. The thing that I'm currently building, which is, you know, all the free content and educational content will always exist.
Yeah.
I just want this to be a layer on top for people who want it. And people have expressed that in the past. Like, I can only learn so much from 90-second videos and binging. Like, you know, people have told me like, I've binged an hour of your content and I've learned so much.
Yeah.
And it's even hard to find on the social pages. And there's no place for all of this to exist before. I you know, thought about working, you know, on this course and having it be on Kajabi. It's that, yeah, it just, there was no other place. And now it's I have this, you know, I've worked with the trust tokens and I that's always going to be there. And now that, you know, I'm a Kajabi user, I plan on growing that the same way I plan on growing my page.
Great.
Yeah.
Is there anything around ownership of that relationship? Because a lot of the times the creators who come to Kajabi, they kind of look at these social media platforms as awesome places to build audiences, but they're kind of an intermediary between you and your audience, right? You have to post on Instagram to interact directly with your audience as a result. And so a lot of times the Kajabi part of it is, it's not just about monetization. The ownership and monetization are two things. There's also this ability for you to have no intermediary between you and the person in your audience or the person who's consuming the content. Like that anecdote you had around, hey, I can spend an hour on Instagram watching your reels, but there's like a destination place That's Adrian's brand. It's all his content, and I can engage with that content. If it's an hour-long piece of content you put out there, it's on your Kajabi site, people can do that. Is that part of what you're thinking too? Just the ability to create more depth of relationship with your audience potentially?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, I have hours of video content that I've filmed for this, and it's not going to be the last time.
Yeah.
It's going to grow, it's going to evolve, and I don't know if, yes, there is an ownership aspect of it. It's very direct to whoever is consuming, but I just like the idea of, because the social feed, you watch what's given to you, whereas on Kajabi, people are watching your content deliberately. They are logging on, they are sitting down and consuming it, and yeah, I don't know if I would call that, to me, ownership of that follow or that customer, but it feels good. It feels like it's direct. It's a direct line of contact. It's more interactive versus you just watching my content because it was given to you or fed to you by an algorithm. And yeah, I like the sound of that. I like that I am also given the keys to direct my fate here as a business.
Yeah.
And because it's so new to me, it's scary. It's really scary.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't have to just rely on, I don't want to say I don't want to just rely on outside factors as to why this business stays afloat.
Yeah.
But it's just really gratifying to know that this version is like a direct one-on-one interaction with whoever is consuming and purchasing.
Yeah. Do you miss the production company world at all? You worked with like Megan Thee Stallion, Aloe, all these like big brands in the past. Like, how do you feel about that part of your business? It sounded like not that it's on the back burner, but it's not like the sole focus at this moment.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel like, do you miss that part of it at all? Or are you kind of, this is the world I created, this is like what I want to do?
I wouldn't say necessarily I miss it.
Yeah.
But it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
Right? Like, whether I'm a director or producer, like, I get to work with people on a set, and that it's just a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
And I do miss that aspect, and which is why I still will probably take a couple here or there if I really, really like the project. But yeah, there's a lot that I miss and a lot that I don't miss, just because this is, working with a team versus making videos that solely, nobody tells you what to make, how to make it. I'm currently enjoying that more. So I don't know, maybe I'll come back to it someday, or maybe I'll have a crew execute some of my own ideas and not have it be client based.
That's cool.
But a lot of the work that I've done in the past with these brands, like, there's not that many that I can see now that, yeah, let me check this off my bucket list. There's a handful.
Yeah.
There's a handful, but it's just, yeah, there's something so much more gratifying working on your own thing.
That's a cool position to be in. You said in the past, I think you never want to be comfortable, right? When you think about the business you built and like frankly, the thriving business you built, like, what does discomfort look like for you now in this new world that you've created? Like, how do you stay almost discomfortable in a way that like you're always kind of pining for the next thing?
Yeah, I was actually just talking about this. Yeah. How I stay that way. One, I come from an immigrant Filipino family.
Yeah.
They were out here surviving, making something for themselves, and they gave me as much as they could. They gave me an opportunity to be the person and the entrepreneur that I am now.
Yeah.
But so much of that is fueled by the scarcity mindset. And I think being scared of that, like, I'm constantly running away from the potential and possibility of not succeeding or being broke, and that actually honestly fuels me so much. And there's a lot of positive content out there as to operating from abundance versus scarcity. I do appreciate and acknowledge that operating from abundance is great. It's healthy. But back in 2022, October of 2022, more specifically, which isn't that long ago, I had $13 in my bank account.
Yeah.
I had done all these great things. I had had this, collage of awesome work and accolades, but to still end up there, it's scary and it's not that far back. So that has been a huge driver of not necessarily how do I deliberately stay uncomfortable, but what keeps me from, sitting on this fire that this chair has a fire on it. I don't want to sit on that chair. And if I sit on that chair, I will burn. Yeah. And I think at some point in my life, I will be far enough removed and a bit more comfortable, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
And there's in a lot of aspects I am though. Yeah. In the comfort of creating whatever I want, the comfort of choosing to have this be my job over something I don't want to do. I have that comfort. Mm-hmm. But in terms of building a life for myself, a sustainable business, all of that is still unwritten. And yeah, that keeps me going. I haven't taken my foot off the gas. I haven't taken my foot off the gas since, and even since I first started posting, my output is even higher now.
It's a healthy paranoia. It's kind of a way I describe it sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, Adrian, you're launching on Kajabi, Content College, correct? Adrian Purr's Content College.
Yep.
Talk to me about what that is.
Back when I first started making content, I always knew that I wanted to have a community of folks that creatives in my city, other cities, or around the world. I was like, let me make a chat room, which I had hosted outside. And I had to think of a name. And I was like, well, it's a creative community. It's so generic. And honestly, it grew on me. And I just attached the AP to that, which was APCC, Adrian Purr's Creative Community.
Nice.
And I had fallen in love with that acronym because it felt collegiate.
Yeah.
And when I started streaming, I started doing these online workshops and lessons and work reviews. People would submit their videos, and it just felt very campus-like. And we're learning this thing together. And I felt like the professor. So I kind of just ran with that. And so now it was, how do I take the CC and repurpose it into the not community version? Well, it's still a community, but it's like, what is a premium version of APCC? And I was like, Content College.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Same acronym. Yeah. I have the handle APCC. It just felt like the perfect fit.
Yeah.
And then I looked it up. Nobody had it.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
How does nobody have Content College?
Yeah.
And it just feels like the right bet on my business in the future.
Okay.
Because what are we considered today? We're considered creators, but not too far back, we were content creators. Not that too far back, we were influencers. So whether it's, any of these words, I feel like the other words are more volatile. And we live in a world now where I know this is going to hurt a lot of filmmakers' egos. Everything is content. Not all content is art, but all content and art is content. So I wanted to create a platform, not just for people to help them make better content or art, but have a platform where the wide array of other people I look up to who have high value knowledge, I can then share it through Content College. And I want it to be my version of these are my handpicked favorite professors to learn from. I want it to feel like the campus bookstore where you get sound, ebooks, free things, premium paid things, and I want to build that ecosystem online.
That's awesome. So talk to me about the ingredients of that. Like, it's starting soon, right?
Yes.
And so what is the first salvo, what that looks like, and what is the vision behind what you're trying to build? Again, it's kind of similarly in 5 years, 10 years, what will that look like as a content college? Like, what are you hoping to accomplish?
Well, yeah, so it's first starting out with the course. It's my first offering. There is a I don't want to say beginner, but there's like a complete guide. Anybody from a beginner to somebody who's seasoned with a camera can take it. And then there is a more intermediate advanced offering, which is the people, if you know your camera, the ins and outs of it, let's take it a step further. And we dive into the theory of camera movement, into focal lengths. Basically film school. I've now been working as a professional for 15 years, and it's like the handpicked, most applicable knowledge for today's modern content world. And that's a first offering. And I want to grow it to a point where it's not just me and it's other experts in their fields who know more than me at those things, and have a platform where I don't want to say instead, but an alternative to going to a film school for people who want to make better content, or even traditional film. You can go to content college, the same way people go to, the same way people will speed run their degrees. You can speed run the most applicable knowledge in a modern content world in content college.
Yeah. It's almost like, eventually you kind of want to be a dean of content college, where you're like pulling into your point, the best person who's great at X, Y, and Z, and they're all teaching under the umbrella of content college. And so your students are getting the best and the brightest minds, the best access to people that traditionally have maybe been, to your point earlier, gatekept from them for whatever reason, right?
Yes.
That's really admirable.
Yeah, and I know what it also isn't.
Yeah.
And I want to be really, really heavy on what this is not. This is an incubator of talent, of refining your individual taste. It is not a place to speed run to virality. It's not a place to sprint to a trend. It is not a place where this is what's working right now. So let me teach you how to be that. It's a place where people are literally going to be able to apply these principles and these foundations to help tell their story or promote their business or whatever they may be doing. So yeah, I'm very heavy on what this is not.
Very cool. It's good. It's good to be clear about that from the jump.
Yeah.
One thing we think about a lot, and a lot of our creators think about, is like, it's one thing to build the content. It's another thing to get the content into people's hands, proverbially or not, right? And there's a lot of things behind the scenes, like the tactical things about building an online business or an online academy or whatever it is. How do you think about that? And I kind of want to walk through each step and get just how you feeling about it, who you're working with, are you doing it, like just a whole shebang in terms of how your business works, right?
Yeah.
So if we start thinking about audience creation or audience generation, like the people you want to serve, how are you going about, and I know you've talked about this a little bit, but how are you going about building that top of funnel audience at first?
I can't even sit here and act like I know what I'm talking about.
Just spit, because I think it's just really interesting to see how people think about it. In reality, it might be slightly different, but I want to get into your brain about how you think about it.
I have to be completely honest.
Yeah.
The thing that I excel best at is knowing how to tell a story through a video.
Okay.
And not selling properly.
Okay.
So I've gotten a lot of help from my management, my team, and now a team who's specifically going to help get this course or this content college in front of the eyes and into the hands of hopefully more people than I would have done myself.
Okay.
Because like I said earlier, I found myself in this position where I found myself here really fast. And while I did think about, I wanted to do this, I don't know how. And this is one of those things where I have to do it properly. This isn't one of those things that I can throw up imperfectly, because I would lose trust. I can't just build up these trust tokens and then cash it out improperly. So I brought on a lot of help. There's so many terms I didn't know before talking to this marketing team.
So talk to me about who you brought on, maybe. What does the team look like? What's its composition?
Yeah, so it's this really awesome agency. They're called Rare Days.
Okay.
And that was brought to me by my manager. He was like, there's these guys out there, this whole team that I know, they're great at what they do. I looked at their portfolio, and I had seen the people that I looked up to use them as well to help them with their course offerings or their memberships. I was like, wow, okay. If they're good enough for these people that I love and respect and who don't feel like stakeholder salesmen, these are the people that I want to go with. And they have allowed me to literally just be the creator. And sure, it sounds scary to put my trust into sharing my, what I feel like is my magnum opus into the world. But that they're so good at their job.
Yeah.
And through the weeks of working with them, the more and more I am like, yeah, it's worth every penny.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have known how to do this myself. Like, sure, I can make a series of videos and, you know, it would have costed me less to do this. And hopefully I would capture some of my audience, but I didn't know that email marketing was still the best conversion of sales.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know that.
So maybe when you like talk to them, they just, what did they say they were going to do for you? Like, walk us through like what got you excited about them. Is it course creation? Is it email marketing? Is it funnels? Like, what kind of stuff were they kind of saying they're going to do on your behalf?
It was the entire thing.
Okay.
It was, I had my idea. I go into production with my idea. They gave me advice as to how these other successful projects they've worked on had in their offerings, and I implemented it into mine. I did my production by myself, and well, by myself meaning outside of their agency, and they put the plan to it. It was a whole lot of interviews and talking as to what is a transformation for this person if they take your course. What isn't the transformation? Who is your ideal customer? And we went super broad and we've narrowed it down. We've collected data, and honestly, like it feels very plug and play. They're handling everything from the marketing strategy, the campaigns, the emails, the copy, the visual branding. They've taken the visual branding that I've made for myself and have graduated it to the next level. It feels super elevated and sleek while still inviting. And it's been worth the investment of time, money, and effort working with people who know how to do that better than I could have myself, whether it's guidance from my manager or guidance from the project manager and, you know, the person who's handling the marketing strategy, the person that's handling all the copy. It's all of these things here so that I just get to be the creator and make the best possible product. And that is just, it was scary because it was expensive.
Yeah.
But, and also it being so expensive, like, I think things that are that expensive are always worth it.
Yeah, great.
For the most part,
Yeah.
having the trust and giving your equal amounts of effort into it. And yeah, it's been a good driver of just creating the best product possible. And it goes back to, as a director, if I'm making a commercial about a shoe, I know my biggest strength is how do I tell a story to have that other person who's watching it feel connected to the shoe that we're selling them. I need the best DP. I
DP
need
is
director of photography. I need the best cinematographer. I need the best gaffer who's going to work with my DP, who's going to get him the best lighting to create a world. I need the best production designer, art director, and it's always been in my nature as a professional in the film world that in order for me to execute my vision or my client's vision, I need to bring people who are better at their jobs than I am at their job. And that has been a huge driver of success in my career as a professional and as a creator, even when I was just doing brand deals, or I mean, even the editors that I work with. I edit a lot of my stuff, but I also work with the editors that I do hire. know how to edit way better than I ever could.
Yeah.
And because these people are so much better at getting a product into the inboxes, to the eyes, and into the hands of these people, I've just followed their direction completely.
Yeah. How did you think about that decision making? Like, because you rebuilt this really this really great audience on Instagram, TikTok. Like, you have a lot of followers. A lot of people would be like, I got a lot of followers. Like, now it's just like, how do I convert them into customers via a landing page and get them to sign up for their email depending on what it is. When you thought about signing up this agency, Rare Days, like, why did you feel so much conviction around going this path versus trying to do it on your own?
I just knew that if I were to come out with something with as much effort that I put into it, I think it would have been a disservice to the product.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of creators who understand business and marketing, but I truly think that when you branch out and realize and humble your ego a bit that you can't and shouldn't do everything, you then really truly grow.
Mm-hmm.
Because even with my page, like, I can't say that is just through the thoughtful thinking of myself as a creative. I'm a creator, but there's so much creative process that happened on the business side that strategically has positioned and placed me as this person that I'm perceived as today. And if I had jumped the gun sooner, like, if I used those trust tokens sooner, or when my ego felt like I could have done it, I don't think I would have been where I am now, in a position of, all right, I can make a trustworthy product. And that isn't just the mastermind of me. Mm-hmm. I am a mastermind of how do I best visually tell this story, but how do I do it in a thoughtful, methodical way that I'm not just throwing things out on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I just treated this exactly the same.
Are there channels or places where, like, you envision them being able to find you customers or anybody like that's different than where you thought you would have been able to do it? Like, what got you so excited about how their go-to-market is going to work, for example? Like, what got you amped about that?
So I spend a good amount of effort on making a video.
Yeah.
And then I was suggested, have you tried stories?
Yeah.
Yeah, I post stories of where I'm at or things I'm doing in real time. Well, you should try stories. You should try using the link or the DM automation, which is awesome, right? Yeah. And it's like, sure, fine, whatever. Like, these videos that I put all my effort into, there's no way that this conversion in stories is gonna outperform it or even get to a fraction of the level. And that's obviously like my ego speaking, right? And I didn't tell them that. I'm like, what do they know about this process on my page? I posted a story. It like 3x outperformed it.
Oh, great.
It was insane.
Yeah.
I was like, I spent all this effort in making a beautiful video when this story, it took me like 45 seconds to make, like, to promote this wait list to sign up for. And it crushed.
That's great.
I'm like, okay, well, more confirmation that these people know way more than, way more. They have just the expertise and the knowledge than I could have ever done myself. Because if I were to do this myself, I was like, let me just create 50 videos leading up to this thing. And sure, it could have worked, but could it have worked as efficiently? Probably not. Would it have taken more effort? Absolutely. We've attacked it now from a standpoint of, this is what works, this is what should work. Don't spend your time here because that doesn't really convert. These are the low effort content that you should do. This is the higher effort content you should do. This is what you should give for free. And I've just followed their roadmap, and they have yet to be wrong.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's great. Then they help you think through pricing and packaging of your product. Like, how is that process for you?
They did. They showed me a diagram as to what I should price it at. And it was, it was this graph of like lower ticket here, higher ticket here. And you capture this. And then like the middle is where most people don't identify with. So it's like, where do we see this product being based off of who your ideal customer is?
So the concept really is like low ticket, high ticket, low ticket, high ticket. Low ticket, hopefully the volume goes up.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of people buying the low ticket. Or high ticket is it's expensive as a product, but you don't need as many people to be able to drive the same type of revenue. That's kind of the decision making that they were describing.
And I haven't seen, because the course isn't out yet, I still don't know if that's
the right
work.
answer or not.
And I think it's scary because I've just given so much out there for free.
Yeah.
Why would anybody want to buy something that's high ticket for me when you can learn a lot from me already in 90-second bits at 100 videos at a time?
Yeah.
But it's different. And that's done through their, thoughtfulness of how they write the copy, of how we're designing it, and, a lot of the video content that we're leading up to it. And I think they're incredibly confident with it. So I feel confident with it, but it's still scary. It's still like, it's just, failure is fine.
Yeah.
It's great and it's encouraged. But I can't sit here and act like if it flops, I'm not going to feel a thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn a lot from it.
Yeah.
But like, until I could then confirm that, I guess I'll never know.
Yeah.
Until I do.
Yeah. I think that's actually kind of interesting. And it is scary, but I think that's like a very common dynamic. It's, you don't know what you know until you put it out there.
Yeah.
And then you'll figure it out. Like that's entrepreneurship, right? Like you put an idea out there, it hits, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. It doesn't. And it's like really what you do after that and how do you iterate your way to success?
Yeah.
I mean, the analogy I'd use is what you were kind of doing with your like socials before, right? It was, hey, I'm getting a sandwich in New York, to, hey, this is how to pick the right camera, or thinking about all these really intricate production things. You kind of figure that out over time. And my hope is that for you, obviously huge success, but also it's not just a moment, it's a journey you're starting to kick off, and that'll be really exciting for you and your audience.
Yeah. It's making things that I like versus, that battle of making things that people want.
Yeah.
And because this is a product, how do you stop your ego from thinking that what you think people want is different than what people actually want from you?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I know it hasn't launched yet, but when you think about the content you're going to be putting out on your traditional channel, like for free content, are you going to be thinking about, okay, I want to put this type of content out there for free, but there's some things that I want to hold for my course or whatever, just because maybe the content, even length, isn't appropriate. Sorry, you can only do so much video on Instagram or TikTok. But when you go to, if you want to go deep dive into something, you probably put that behind a course, or like, how are you thinking about the portfolio of content you're going to create going forward?
Yeah, it's just longer form.
Yeah.
It's longer than what I think should be on YouTube.
Yeah.
And obviously because of short form, it's like you can't speak, like you can make, I'd say, a 50 series video, a 50 video series on a subject, and sure, maybe you'll hit the same length, but the time spent based off of if the content hits them is it there? I don't think I want to explore that. So which is why, I rented out this space. I got all the topics that were, things that were frequently asked, also, cherry picking knowledge of what I think is most applicable. And yeah, I just went deep. I went deeper than I've ever been before. There aren't things that I necessarily am holding out from the free content, because so much of what I've spoken about for free is also in the course, but on a deeper theoretical and methodical level than ever before.
Yeah,
like,
the depth of it is a big deal.
I'm not just telling you should do this because it'll help. I'm telling you how these specific things will help you in these specific use case scenarios. And not everything is a one size fits all. Like, why should you use this lens, or why should you use this filter? Why should you film with this angle? So much of what's out there, and a lot of the things that, because it's restricted by time, when I say you how do you keep a story visually interesting? It's okay, let's establish with a wide shot, let's cut in close, and then maybe come back to a medium, and then go back wide, and then cut in close, and then come back wide. It keeps it interesting because it's always moving. And that's something that I'm telling somebody. Whereas this wide shot establishes a space, close-ups establish details, it immerses you into a scene. A medium shot, depending on what lens you choose, will give your character or yourself the emotion that you want to deliver closer to how your story should be delivering it. Coming back to a wide shot made so many of these things I talk about in great detail as to why you should do these things, not you should do these things.
Why did you start with courses? Like if you think about digital, well, I think you had a digital download somewhere else too, right? So you have digital downloads, courses. Have you thought about communities, newsletters, like other parts of this? We have a lot of people who sell courses, but then also do like one-on-one coaching or one-to-many coaching. Like how do you think about the portfolio of digital products and your future kind of building this kind of empire for yourself?
Yeah, so the color grading product, that was like a test in the water to see if I could even do it, and hopefully desensitizing myself from potential failure. And that worked out really well. So that helped my confidence a bit. And I've had a newsletter now for the past couple of years, and it's free. It's for people who want to read deeper on the subjects that I've been speaking about in my videos, but I've never put it behind a paywall. Will I ever, or will there be a paid version of this? Maybe. Will I do coaching? Maybe. Will I do webinars that people pay for? Maybe. Will I do, a membership program? Maybe. I think that really just depends on what is the true appetite of people who buy into this course. And if there is more of an appetite, then I will explore other options. And all these things are possibilities, and they're exciting possibilities. I would love to do these things. I would love to do live things. I would love to do things in person. I just don't know yet. I just don't want to bite off more than what I could chew. So the courses came first because it's the most native to what I'm currently doing, except longer form, more produced, and behind the paywall. And it just felt the easiest for me to do right now. Easy because I've put a lot of things in place to help me get there. Not effort-wise.
It's a lot of work.
Everybody around me has made this process easier, and it really is only the first one because it was the most native to what I do.
I mean, the cool thing about your journey is that there's this, like I said before, there's this creator part of it. There's a big entrepreneurial part of it. There's like a knowledge part of it. So it's like really what Kajabi is all about. It's like that journey, and how do we power entrepreneurs or creators, or we call it heroes like you, to kind of build those businesses. I'd be fascinated to get your take on what you think the future of this ecosystem looks like. Like, what do you think, what will your world look like in 3 to 5 years? Or what do you think creators are headed in 3 to 5 years that is different than it is today?
I think content is always changing, but I think in the most basic foundational way, the way we approach things, whether it's AR or VR or 360 immersive, maybe it's vertical, or maybe it's ridiculous horizontal. Have you seen that trend where things are like stupid horizontal? It was really slim. It was ridiculous.
Oh, really?
That is always going to be changing. And I just think based off of the things that not only I've put into practice, but the other people who I'd love to bring on to Content College has done in practice, we create a space where it will be like an online film school.
Cool.
Or a content school. It's that's what I hope for. I don't know if it will eventually turn into a membership. I don't know. I think it's too hard for me to definitively say what I want that to turn into. What I am certain of is I want to grow with it. I want to evolve with it. And times are changing, and I'm open to that change. And based off of what people want, I can then change how I deliver the things that I feel like that they may want. And yeah, it's so not uncertain, but it's just like, I feel like there's a path that people walk that's been paved. But I feel like with this specific thing, I'm like throwing out a stone and stepping on it, throwing out a stone and stepping on it, creating that path and walking on it at the same time. I don't know if there's going to be a fire there or a flood and I need to throw the stones this way or throw it that way. And yeah, I don't think I could definitively answer that. All I do know is that I'm willing to grow with it and commit to it.
Awesome. This is the time on Creator Commerce where we play The Thing That. So this is pretty self-explanatory. When I do it, you'll nail it. The thing that made you realize you could turn creativity into a business.
Ooh, the first brand deal.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What was it?
It was, I did a brand deal with Aperture, the light company.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. That's great. The thing that went way more viral than you expected.
The video of me talking about who I am and what I do.
Okay, great. The thing you still haven't done but will.
Unapologetically own the things that I'm good at.
Great. The thing that you're most proud of that no one claps for.
I think because I don't need it, taking care of people that I love.
That's beautiful. The thing that almost made you quit.
Being broke.
The thing that reminded you why you started this in the first place.
I just love creating things in every medium I can.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Before we wrap, we like to end every episode with the creator assignment. It's our moment to turn the attention of our community tuning into this and get them thinking about their own work. What's one key takeaway from our conversation today and one small but powerful homework assignment you'd give to creators who are listening?
Okay. No matter what niche you're in, whether that's beauty, lifestyle, cinematography, making coffee, everything has been done before. So I want to say, for something that you should do is write down a list, maybe it's 3 things, 5 things, as to why your approach and why your story and why you do it is so uniquely yours. And everything, yes, is saturated. But why should people be more drawn to yours? Stop. I'll tell you what to do and what not to do also. Stop trying to be like everybody else that you see is successful. These people are successful, or the people who have the longevity and stand the test of time are original and many times a one of what they do. And it takes the equal amount of effort to be a diet version of somebody else versus the best possible version of you. So write that down. What makes you unique from the perspective you see your niche through, your lived experiences, your adversities, your wins, and then approach all the content you make through those principles.
Adrian Per, thanks so much for coming on Creator Commerce today. We really appreciate it.
No, it was my pleasure. It was really fun. I hope I didn't rant too much.
No, we love rants. It was awesome. Thanks, man. I really appreciated Adrian's perspectives as a social first creator, but 2 things really stood out for me. First, he reminded us that expertise isn't the only path to connection with your audience. Instead of positioning himself as a sole authority, Adrian builds trust through transparency, sharing both the polished and the unpolished in a way that feels true to his audience. Second, his idea of trust tokens really resonated with me. He's intentional about earning trust before asking for anything in return, and that foundation is what's now enabling him to go all in with the launch of his Adrian Per's Content College product. Thank you to my guest, Adrian Per, but most importantly, thank you all for joining us. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. It's time for us to go, but it's time for you to build. See you soon.